St. John's.
Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea Foley with Agriculture in the Classroom, Newfoundland and Labrador. We're hosted by the NL Federation of Agriculture here in the province, and our goal is to raise awareness about the agriculture industry by connecting youth to agriculture and agriculture awareness. So today we're going to be visiting a few farms across the province to show you what is happening in the agriculture industry in Newfoundland and Labrador. First, we're going to be visiting Lester's Farm Market, where they plant and harvest vegetables. And they have over 100 varieties of fruits and vegetables grown at Lester's Farm Market. So we're going to check out how they plant and how they harvest and how long everything takes to grow.
Well, my family's been farming here on Brookfield Road since the middle of the 1800s. Personally, I've been here for probably the past 20 years, but I guess when you grow up on a farm, right from the time you're able to walk, you're kind of helping out or getting in the way, one or the other. There is no typical day on a farm. One of the great things about farming is such a variety to it. You may be seeding, you may be harvesting, you may be maintaining the crop, you may be doing tractor work, or you may be doing manual labor. Every day is different. There's such a variety. There's no boredom here on the farm. We grow all our traditional vegetables, your cabbage, your turnip, potato, and carrots. But we also grow a lot of vegetables that you don't typically think of growing here in Newfoundland. Zucchinis, artichokes, sweet corn, kale, collards, a lot of things. Basically what we do here on this farm is we grow as many different varieties of vegetables as you possibly can in our climate. We start planting in the greenhouse in early March. Many of the things that grow above ground, such as your cabbage and your lettuces and your broccoli, all that is started in the greenhouse. We'll usually get into the field or start working the fields in early May, weather depending of course, and at that point we'll start seeding a lot of direct seeded stuff such as your carrots and your potatoes at that time, and we'll also start to transplant the stuff that we started in March. Pretty well every different crop has a different planting process. Most of the stuff that grows above ground, leafy vegetables, we will start planting them in March, and we'll continue planting in the greenhouse right up until the middle of July, just so we have continual supply. About 4 or 5 weeks after we plant the seeds, they're ready for transplants into the field. And then we'll use the machine to plant the crops such as broccoli and cauliflower into the field. Harvest times vary with the different crops, and what we do, we try to get our crops on as early as we possibly can and maintain a continual production for as long as we can, and we'll continue harvesting them right up until early November. Broccoli and cauliflower is kind of a mid-season thing. We start them in the greenhouses, and a good year we'll start harvesting them in late June, early July. Depending on the season, we should be harvesting peas by late July, and we'll continue harvesting them right up until the end of September, and they're all harvested by hand. Well, a lot of vegetables, there is no other choice but to harvest them by hand, just because they're delicate in nature. You look at stuff such as strawberries and peas and lettuces, they do have to be harvested by hand because you're looking for a couple of things. You look for the maturity of the crop. You cannot damage it, so you have to be very gentle with it. And our scale is another thing that limits our machines. Because we only grow an acre of spinach, that has to be harvested by hand. If we only grow a couple of acres of peas and beans, that also has to be harvested by hand. It's just not big enough acreage to justify mechanized harvesting. Well, when you're harvesting, there's it's up to the individual harvester. They have to make some decisions on their own. They have to decide the size, is it ready to harvest, so they'll decide that before they pull it up or before they cut it off from the roots. And when you pull up a turnip, you have to cut off the roots here, and you also have to cut off the leaves. That can only be done by hand. Every single turnip is unique, so there's going to be a different method for every single turnip. Potatoes is one of the only crops that we have actually a machine harvester for it. Most of our crops are harvested by hand. However, potatoes, we have a machine that will lift them up through the ground, and it'll give our crew an opportunity to grade them over before they're put into our harvest bins. So when the potatoes are being harvested, the machine will lift them up out of the ground. It'll sift the soil out through the chain, and then there's a part of the machine that will actually take the leaves away from the potatoes. The potatoes and then, of course, the rocks will be carried on up through to a grading table for our guys. They'll pick out any of the bad potatoes or rocks, and after that they'll be transferred along the belt, and they'll go up into a spot for the guys to either bag the potatoes off or they'll go into bins. Sustainable farming is very important to us. Our family's been farming here for over 170 years. So what we've been doing is obviously sustainable. However, as we go into the future, we have to be more concerned about there's a very limited farmland base here in Newfoundland, and we want to continue farming this for generations to come. We're concerned about a lot of things. The degradation of soil and erosion, that's a huge problem anywhere in the world, and we're taking steps to rectify that. We use a lot of green crops, which is crops you plant that will, first of all, it'll prevent erosion. As the rain comes down, the vegetation will prevent that. And another thing, it's going to sequester any excess nutrients. So it'll turn those excess nutrients, which would normally be leached into the soil and into the groundwater, they'll turn that into organic matter. We started this retail store back in '94. It wasn't this particular one. It was originally just a table on the side of the road that my mother started with. Originally we were providing vegetables for the local supermarkets and for the wholesalers. So we wanted to have a source or an opportunity to sell our produce directly from the field to the people that are consuming them. Our customers absolutely love this place. It's funny, when we first started up, people didn't really know where their food was coming from. And now we have customers coming in as crops are coming on and wondering when our sweet corn is going to be on. And they know so much about it now. They're actually growing with us. We've had kids that used to come in here as toddlers. Now they're coming back with their own families. And it's become a huge tradition to come to Leicester's to get their vegetables. Farming is a very rewarding occupation. Really, it's the most important job in the world. You're producing food that feeds people. And in regards to personal satisfaction, it's amazing. Every day it's a different day. Every year you get a chance to try new technology, new seed varieties. It's so interesting in that no 2 days are ever the same. Every year you get a chance to rectify your mistakes of the previous year. There's new challenges every year with unique weather or different weather, and it's an amazing job. Farming is a very rewarding career choice for a lot of people. I think as the world goes forward, food production is going to be very, very important, and it's a career that you can make a difference. When you look back at the end of your career, you can feel very satisfied in that what you did in this world really made a difference. We have a lot of teenagers working here. They come back and many of them are looking for careers into agriculture now just because the head start they got here. Farming is a funny thing. Once you experience it, it's something that you can never ever forget about. You always will be passionate about it. You'll always enjoy it, whether it's a backyard garden or whether it's your own 100-acre or 200-acre farm.
Thank you to the Leicester's family for showing us around your farm and showing us what Leicester's Farm Market does here in our province. Next, we're going to be watching an animated video from our friends at National Little Green Thumbs called Plants, Planet, and People.
Plants, planet, people. Everywhere on Earth, living things depend upon each other. This includes people. Plants, people, animals, and the land all depend on each other. All living things depend on non-living things as well. We would not survive without sunlight and water, without changing weathers, winds, and the earth beneath us. The natural places where plants and animals live and depend on each other are called habitats. Plants are an important part of every habitat. Plants grow nearly everywhere. Plants grow in different natural habitats, from forests mountains, bogs, and the coast. Plants even grow in constructed habitats around people, including cities, farms, in our own backyard, in our homes, and schools. We use plants every day too. Just look around you. You could be wearing plants, or sitting on a plant, or using a plant, or even eating a plant. Plants are a very important part of their habitats too. Plants help protect the soil and prevent erosion. Plants provide homes and shelters for many animals. They help balance the temperature by keeping the air cool and providing shade for animals. Plants give food and medicine for many creatures, including humans. Plants were the first living organisms on Earth and covered most of the land on the planet, and even in the oceans too. Without plants, life on Earth would not be possible for animals or for humans. People and animals need oxygen to live. Plants produce 98% of all the oxygen we breathe. Over half of Canada is covered by the boreal forest, the largest forest in the world. The boreal forest expands across many northern countries and helps produce much of the world's oxygen. The trees and the other plants in the boreal forest are producing so much oxygen for us to breathe, just like the Amazon rainforest in South America. But how do plants produce oxygen? Plants produce oxygen when they make food for themselves through a process called photosynthesis. Plants use three things to make food: sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide from the air. Animals and people, like you and me, are breathing out of carbon dioxide right now. Plants absorb water through their roots and absorb sunlight and carbon dioxide through their leaves. Plants use the sunlight to turn the carbon dioxide and water into food. During this process, plants release oxygen into the world. All life is sustained with the energy from the sun. Everything starts with the sun. Our food chains start with the energy of the sun that plants absorb. Plants use this energy to make food, then becomes food for other animals. Those animals become food for other animals. For example, mice love eating berries, such as blueberries. The mouse is one of its favorite foods for a fox, but also a snake. A snake may be eaten by an owl, and the list goes on. Animals may eat a variety of different things, including plants or other animals. All of these living things depend on each other for food and shelter, and the variety of need form a food web. Humans are also part of food webs too. Plants depend on animals too. When animals eat plants and their seeds, they help carry these plants to new areas. Plants also depend on animals like bees to help pollinate their flowers and need carbon dioxide that animals breathe for photosynthesis. Many other needs of plants come from nature. This includes sunlight, water, air, nutrients, and enough space to grow. There are many important relationships between plants, animals, humans, and our planet. We all depend on each other. For many thousands of years, humans have lived in balance with plants and animals on our planet, keeping us all healthy. However, humans have disturbed that balance. When we cut down trees and don't plant them back, or destroy plant habitats, or pollute the earth, we have a huge impact on all living things. But people are realizing the importance of the relationships between plants, people, and our planet. We need to protect our plant habitats. We can do this by planting trees or gardens and protecting the plants we already have. What are the ways that you can protect the plants around you?
So that video showed us a little bit about how plant needs are met both indoors and outside, and how we can care for our plants at home. So next we'll be visiting a broiler farm with chicken farmer Daryl Legg. Broiler means that it's a chicken that is used for meat, whereas a chicken that lays eggs is called a layer. So this is a broiler farm, so this is the place where we use those chickens to make yummy, delicious meals such as chicken breasts and chicken nuggets. Let's check it out.
Hello, my name is Daryl Legg. I'm a poultry producer here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Our farm is located probably around 45 minutes outside of St. John's. I'm a third generation chicken farmer. My grandparents started it back in the early 70s. My parents took it over in the mid 80s, and I am looking at a field in agricultural now. A typical day here on the farm is pretty early. We get up around 6. We make our way out to the barns. We'll make a quick walkthrough just to make sure that the temperature's fine, the water's fine, the feed's fine, and that the birds are in really good condition. After that, it's a lot of maintenance. You have to go around and check a lot of things, grease a lot of things. This goes on throughout the whole day, and then at some point overnight, someone comes back to check on the birds again. Presently, our chicks they come from a hatchery out in Whitburn, island chicks. The eggs are brought in from the mainland, brought in by specialized trucks. They are dropped off at island chicks where they are incubated for 3 to 4 days, and once they're a couple hours old, they're dropped off to our farms. Our chickens don't lay eggs. The birds that we have on our farm would be referred to as broilers, and which is referred to more as a meat bird. Okay, so here we are. We're in one of our many buildings. We're just awaiting to get some chicks here today. They'll be arriving probably in the next 4 or 5 hours. So when we place the birds, we try to place them here on the feed that we have laid out on a piece of paper underneath the feeder system. And why we do this is because the birds will have something to eat right off the bat, and they'll associate this area with the feeding systems that they'll be feeding off for the rest of their lives. Now over here, what we have is the drinking system, the watering system. This is what the birds will drink water out for the rest of the time they're in the barns. And how this system works is that it's a stainless steel rod, and once the bead of water comes down, they only got to walk up and they only peck at it, and the water comes down. And after they peck at it, there's the light in the barn will create a spectrum here, which will constantly attract the birds, and they'll always come back to here for water. And that's how the chicken will learn to associate these for water and these for feed. Right now we're at the point where the barns are ready to get the birds, but it doesn't start this way. Initially, once the birds are left the building, we have to come in and we'll use tractors to clean out all the manure, and then we'll scrape and we'll sweep. Once that's done and we have all the organic material out, then we'll come in with hot water pressure washers and we'll steam clean everything, the floors, the equipment, the walls. Once that's done, we leave a little dry period for the buildings to dry out. Then we come in, we'll apply a mild disinfectant just to make sure that there's no bacteria or viruses or anything present. And then after that we spray for any beetles or stuff like that, just so to make sure that we have a nice clean environment for the birds, for the baby chicks when they come in. And we try to do this after every single flock. This right here is what the chicks, well, this is what we call their litter. It's wood shavings. It's a byproduct of the forestry industry, and basically it creates a nice, comfortable little bed for the little guys to come in and run around and sit down in a nice, clean environment. The fans that we have located on the ceilings creates an air tunnel within the building itself. Not a really fast one. What that does, it eliminates any cold or hot spots that could be occurring anywhere in the barn. Again, this is to make the birds feel more comfortable, so we don't get, like I said, so they don't get hot or cold. And other fans that are located in the walls, they're there so that we can exhaust the heat when the birds get a little bit bigger, but also to bring in fresh air and to keep the buildings nice and dry. So here we are. We're outside one of our 4 barns here on the farm. These are 2 of the 8 feed tanks that we have here on the farm. The combined storage of these tanks is around 40 tons. The feed that's the broilers eat is brought out by a specialized truck from the feed mill, which is located in St. John's and Topsail Road. Once the truck comes out here, it blows in feed through these pipes. It fills the tanks up to a desired level. Once there is a demand for feed on the inside, once the chicks eat so much down on the feed and engage the feed system, an auger will engage here and will haul the feed through this pipe in through the barn and will fill up each feed line as it needs as it goes across the barn to whatever desired need that the chicken has at that time. Here in Newfoundland and Labrador, last year we produced a little bit over 10 million birds as a province alone. Myself here on this farm, we produce around 700,000. Most of our birds are for provincial consumption, so that would be your Mary Browns, your KFC, whole birds, Swiss Chalet, mom and pop tech out, stuff like that. So here we are, we're in the barn. These are day-old chicks. This little guy, because I can tell by his wing formulation, and he's a male. He's only a couple days old. He's a little cute little man, I have to say. And right now he hasn't developed his feathers yet. What you see right here, this yellowness they call, is a dow. And over the next couple of weeks, he'll start to change his dow into a feather and grow into a full-grown bird. Also here in the farm, as you see here in the office, what we try to do is we try to use modern technology to kind of bring the farm into the 21st century. One of the many things that we use, one of our many tools I should say that we use, is a data logger. The data logger, what that does is that it creates a database for us to understand how the bird's performing, how much water they drink, how much grain they ate, and hopefully over time what we plan on doing is to use this database in order to create a curve so that we can run the birds to reach peak performance. And like many businesses, we do have affiliations and programs and standards that we have to keep up to. Here to my left on the wall, you will see the offset program certification, which this farm has been carrying for the last 7 years. That would be the on-farm food safety assurance program. Other programs included our environmental farm plan, animal care welfare program, and other things that we try to improve here on the farm is our safety qualifications also, because we are also Prime certified. A background for anybody getting into agriculture, poultry, or whatever. I mean, you want to be mechanically inclined and want to be, hands-on and enjoy being outside. But like any business, you need to have a strong business background. You need to be able to communicate well. You need to be able to do research, and you need to be able to deal with banks. Myself, I did have hands-on experience on the farm, but I did go to Memorial University and got a degree before I came back to take over the farm.
Thank you, Daryl Legg, for showing us around your broiler farm. Did you know that chicken is something that Newfoundland and Labrador is self-sufficient in? So we don't need to bring in any chicken from anywhere else because we have enough for everybody in Newfoundland and Labrador. And thank you to the Lesters for showing us around Lester's Farm Market, and of course our friends at Little Green Thumbs for their Plants, Planet and People video. You can join us next time on Agriculture in the Classroom Newfoundland and Labrador. And if you'd like to volunteer for programs like our Little Green Thumbs program, we do look for avid growers that are interested in mentoring Little Green Thumbs about what they're growing in their classrooms. So you can check us out at aitcnl.ca.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV.